Okay, well, hello everyone. Welcome to this month's Vendor Spotlight webinar featuring Carrier's Edge, sponsored by Protective Insurance. I'm Tom Kim with Rhodes, provider of the platform powering the Protective Insurance marketplace. Today, we'll be addressing how mental health and personal security affect truck drivers. These are issues increasingly important for drivers, but often ignored because they can be difficult conversations to have. On a daily basis, commercial truck drivers can face social isolation, long sleep shifts, sleep disruptions, stress, and other job challenges that over time can lead to strains on their mental health. Additionally, drivers can find themselves in situations that threaten their personal security. Today, we're joined by Salatsi Hochiyame from Carrier's Edge, a leading provider of online training for commercial truck fleets, where he'll discuss how these challenges are impacting commercial fleets and what Carrier's Edge has done to provide drivers with training to support good mental health and raise awareness about personal security threats when on the road. We'll wrap up the session with a quick guide on how to view the Carrier's Edge driver training solution on the Protective marketplace. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen and we'll address all questions at the end of the session. With that, I'll turn it over to Salatsi from Carrier's Edge.
All right, Tom, thank you. Let me just share my screen here. Sorry. Is that popping up?
Not yet.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, well, thank you. Again, my name is Salatsi Hochiyame. I'm the Director of Affiliate Partnerships here at Carrier's Edge. I'm happy to be able to come here and discuss with you some of these issues that we're finding in the industry. When it comes to mental health and personal security, these are two of our newer courses. I think we released them at the end of 2022, but they're very important courses just for addressing issues that drivers are facing. Here. So a quick intro, as Tom mentioned, so we're at Carrier's Edge. Carrier's Edge is a leading provider of online driver training for the trucking industry. We offer a comprehensive library of safety and compliance courses, currently helping over 2,000 fleets train their drivers without having to sacrifice miles. Our main thing is we make it easy to train anytime or anywhere. And later on in the presentation, I can talk about how we make it easy and accessible for drivers to access our training modules. So another thing I wanted to cover quickly was, excuse me, is you may have seen us recently in CCJ or Fleet Owner, as we just awarded the 2023 Best Fleets to Drive for earlier in March in Orlando, Florida. So just want to share that Carrier's Edge is the creator of the Best Fleets to Drive for program. It's an annual evaluation of the best workplaces in the North American trucking industry. And part of this process is understanding what top fleets are doing for their drivers. And it's through this process where we were seeing issues such as what companies were incorporating to deal with personal safety, the driver safety while they're on the road, and then mental health issues. So we're seeing more and more some of these, our top companies were putting in new programs and focusing more on the driver to make sure that it's not just that the job is going well, but the driver is doing well as well. So it's from being able to have programs like this, we're able to understand what some of the industry trends are, and then really guide our course or content to make sure we're addressing the needs of the industry. Okay, jumping into things, I start with the number here, 17 million Americans. So this stat here, so in the US, depression is the most common mental health disorder, and it is experienced by more than 17 million Americans. According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, more than 50% of the population of the US will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. And in any given year, 1 in 5 Americans will experience a mental illness. So when we're discussing drivers, it's again, there's a lot when we're discussing what the drivers have to go through. So in the commercial transportation industry, truck drivers are more susceptible to experiencing mental health issues just due to the nature of their work. Another stat to share, in 2017, the CDC reported that transportation professionals experienced the fourth highest suicide rate, excuse me, amongst occupational groups. So on a daily basis, your commercial truck drivers are facing social isolation, long shifts, sleep disruption, stress, and other job challenges that over time can lead to burnout, loneliness, and other strains on their mental health. In more severe cases, they're witnessing collisions or deaths on the road, or even suicide by truck events that can result in post-traumatic stress disorder. So kind of when discussing how this affects drivers, we still need to keep in mind that there's still a stigma surrounding the topic of mental illness, and it makes it very difficult for people to open up and talk about how they're doing mentally in fear of being judged. So some of our course content is a resource for drivers so that they can better identify and work through mental challenges that they may experience. And again, for fleet managers taking the course, it gives them a resource to better monitor and discuss these issues with drivers. So with this slide, one thing I did want to quickly cover was mental health versus mental illness. So poor mental health results from many factors. So you could have factors such as low self-esteem, loneliness, stress, and even relationship problems. So while most people experience occasional mental health concerns, such as feelings of sadness or being lethargic, these feelings start becoming mental illness when the symptoms and stress cause sustained negative changes in their mood, thinking, and behavior that begins to affect their ability to function. So the signs and symptoms of mental illness will also vary depending on the circumstances, the disorder, and the person themselves. To list off a few the common ones that do affect professional drivers, you're looking at depression, seasonal affective disorder, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, so with this slide, I just want to cover what steps drivers can kind of take to help with their mental health. So a driver's lifestyle and daily routine can have a big impact on their mental health. While we know that maintaining a healthier lifestyle can support physical health, it also benefits mental health. Drivers may struggle because it might seem that making healthier choices seems unachievable. And when you're thinking about it, you're thinking about the time they're spending on the road in a limited space. So where's that opportunity for exercise? You're on the road, it's always easier to eat unhealthy food. There's just more options there. So finding those challenges to be able to eat healthy and exercise can seem unachievable for a driver. So what we suggest in our course is just small changes to their routines. So try eating more fruit and vegetables, get a little bit more exercise, try and take small breaks, and a big one is just trying to improve sleeping habits. And those differences can help with, in the end, be a big difference in a driver's state of mind. Another one is staying connected. So we talk a lot about how loneliness can affect drivers' mental health. Driving itself is solitary, and it's easy to spend too much time on your own when you're out on the road. Loneliness itself is one of the biggest mental challenges. And for a driver, they need to be able to stay in touch with loved ones, meeting up with fellow drivers at rest stops, or even spending their time off with friends and family. That can all be used to combat loneliness. I think it's very easy for us to get back from a tiring day and say, hey, just to try and disconnect. But for drivers, I ask you that extra effort to connect because, as you said, there's a lot of time spent by themselves while on the road. And then finally, even being part of an online community can help to increase the driver's feeling of connectedness. A few other steps drivers can take. We have noted that simple measures such as maintaining good personal hygiene, keeping their cabs comfortable, free of excessive noise and vibrations can help a driver have a more positive outlook. Listening to music and podcasts can also help pass the time and calm nerves, making long trips more enjoyable. One thing I do want to note is for these presentations is when we're discussing mental illness such as depression or anxiety, it is important to follow the recommendations of a doctor or mental health professional. Although lifestyle choices can support treatment and recovery from mental illness, some people also require therapy and medication, particularly those with severe symptoms. So again, our courses are there to kind of help guide drivers and help them live a more or pay attention to their mental health. But again, when you're talking about mental illness or, more severe issues, is definitely you need to work with your doctor or mental health professional for that. So wrapping up on the mental health side of things, and again, the mental health course itself is about an hour in length. So I'm really just scratching at the surface. But if you're interested in more information, there is a free trial that you can access through the marketplace, and you can, have that can kind of deep dive into the course itself and see everything that's covered. But for now, this is just scratching the surface. Moving on to the next topic, personal security. So 223 million. I was looking at a report from CargoNet, and they reported an increase of 15% from 2021 to 2022 in incidents of thefts in the US. So they estimated that $220 million in cargo was stolen across all theft events in 2022. And just to tie this back into security or mental health, if your drivers are going out worried about what can happen to them while on the road, it's definitely not good for their mental health. And with that, we advise finding ways that drivers can feel safe while they're out on the road. So one thing we do advocate for is prevention, and I'll kind of go over that in the next slide, but we say prevention is your best form of protection. And when we're looking at our trip planning guides, we'll incorporate that into the steps. But for professional drivers, just to kind of circle back, they do face unique challenges that pose a threat to their personal security. You're looking at they're working alone, they're working at night, they could be working potentially different cities or locations. Drivers may occasionally encounter situations that put their safety at risk, such as cargo theft, riots, protests, organized crime, or even other drivers. I'll stick with cargo theft for now, just as we're looking at the number of what the loss was across the US. But how is cargo theft? How is it executed? It's me. So the first one that might surprise a lot of people is social media. So cargo thieves may use social media to determine a driver's location or track their load. A driver can easily be tracked when they check in or post on social media when their location data is not turned off. The second one is cyber attacks. So cyber attacks are used to gain access to pick up and drop off information. It can be used to download established company routes, or it can be used to print off information that provides thieves with pickup credentials that seem legitimate. A driver can take steps to protect company information from a cyber attack by being cautious with what they're sharing online. So just like criminals can eavesdrop over CB radio, they may also listen in on open Wi-Fi networks. So while open Wi-Fi networks, when you're at a truck stop or hotel Wi-Fi, listening on these networks can help them gain access to your passwords, browsing history, or credit card information. What our course advises drivers is to not share information about their cargo online and to use a VPN rather than open Wi-Fi wherever possible. When we're talking about how cargo theft can happen, another main one is social interactions during stops. So one thing we advise is we never know who the typical bad guy is. You can't tell from looking at someone if they pose a threat. So because of this, a driver needs to be cautious about their social interactions when they stop for breaks or for their personal time. We say these are potential attackers are going to try to be friendly or trustworthy to gain access to a driver's vehicle and cargo. On top of that, a driver does need to worry about other drivers as well. More so, maybe not when we're talking about cargo theft, but just in terms of disputes, or there may be situations where you have other drivers being aggressive, people trying to escape fights, other drivers could be threatening, or even sexually harassing. So there are aspects of things that do affect a driver's personal security. I'm going to move on to how a driver can kind of do their trip planning in order to help minimize and prevent necessary situations while on the road. So with trip planning, we'll start with loading. Some of the steps we provide for loading is you want to fuel up fully before picking up your load. This ensures you can travel long distance before you have to stop. If you're not having to stop within the first 2-3 hours, that might deter a criminal or thief that is kind of following your truck. The second is you want to stay informed. A driver should be informed about the value of their cargo. This way, they'll know to be more alert and take appropriate precautions. For example, theft of personal electronics tends to increase between Labor Day and Christmas, especially in the weeks leading up to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So if a driver is informed and they know, the value of what their cargo is, it helps them make better decisions while out on the road. Drivers while loading should stay with the cargo and limit loading time as much as possible. And finally, they should check the cargo against the bill of lading just to make sure that nothing's missing. Now, while on the road, like we mentioned, stopping for fuel, the longer a driver can drive before having to fuel up, it will deter any thieves that could be following them. Another thing to keep in mind is weak cell signal. So a driver should be cautious in areas where they're not having strong cell phone signal. These areas are where thieves might pretend to be stranded to trick a driver into pulling over. Drivers should consider, if they're kind of regularly going through these areas, carrying a cell signal booster, or if the carrier is willing to look at providing a satellite phone for their drivers if they're frequently driving through remote areas. The third thing for while on the road is staged accidents. So staged accidents are becoming more common. And while this does not necessarily pose a direct threat to the driver or their cargo, drivers should be aware of schemes where people deliberately cause collisions with the intention of claiming to be the victim. When stopping for the night, a driver should be looking to inform the carrier of their location. We advise on securing your door in addition to locking them. And then in event of danger, make use of your air horn. In those events. So we're gonna skip to now making the delivery. When possible, a driver should look to make the delivery before the weekend. You don't want your cargo being there stationary. It's when it's most vulnerable. Confirm the drop-off time directly with the customers. Again, check credentials of the employees who receive the delivery to make sure they are legitimate. Okay. So that's that kind of concludes our personal security section, but I do want to share, we're just scratching the surface with looking at what we offer on the mental health side and personal security. And if you do have other questions, both courses are about an hour in length, so they're not too long, but they'll give you and your drivers just some more insight into these two issues.
All right, thank you, Salatsi, for that insightful presentation. So now I'd like to take a moment to give everyone a quick tour of the Protective Marketplace. I'll put the URL in the chat window right now. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so on the homepage of the Protective Insurance Marketplace, you'll see categories to the left and solutions to the right. And these are all related to safety and risk management. Also highlighted are promotional offerings from our marketplace vendors, which here you can see the 30-day free trial offering from Carrier's Edge. To find solutions, you can use the search feature or the solution recommender, which is a quick and easy way to get tailored solutions for your business needs. In our resources section, you can click on videos to view past webinars. Well, we'll also be posting a recording of today's webinar here. Now, let's take a look at the Carrier's Edge driver training solution, which you can find under driver management and driver training. By clicking on the Carrier's Edge driver training system solution, the card will open up into the full listing where you'll see a quick overview, base package pricing with exclusive discounts for protective policyholders, promotional offerings where Carrier's Edge again is offering a 30-day free trial, a who it's for section, a longer description with more details on the solution, a media carousel, which features videos and highlights, a features and benefits section, a resources section that includes additional brochures, data sheets, and other informative collateral, and an About Us section where you can learn more about Carrier's Edge. To speak with the Carrier's Edge team and to get more information on the driver training solution, you can click on the Request Info button or click the free trial button to connect with their team and get a 30-day free trial. So there it is, a one-stop shop to find safety and risk management solutions to solve your fleet needs. Now, at this point, we'll wrap it up with Q&A. Let me see what questions we have. So, Salatsi, these questions will be for you. The first question, do I need to provide credit card information to sign up for the 30-day free trial?
No credit card information is collected on the 30-day free trial. You just need to give first name, last name, and email. They will probably, they'll ask for, are you cross-border? If not, because that can determine which additional courses you might have available to you on your trial.
All right, great. Next question, how many courses can I try during the 30-day free trial?
We generally set up 4 to 6 courses for a trial. So it's not open to, you don't have access to all the modules in the library, but we will on creation of your account, select 4 to 6. Usually you'll see courses such as accident scene reporting, defensive driving, cargo securement. Sorry, I'm now drawing blanks, but we'll select 4 to 6 courses that are kind of a good starter point for an individual to run through the system.
Great. Let's see, next question. Does a subscription require a long-term contract?
No contract. It's we go month to month. If you're on your very initial setup, you'll be charged first and last month, but after that, you're able to cancel at any point.
All right. Let's see. Next question. How many courses will my drivers have access to with a paid subscription?
So with a paid subscription, we do have over 100 courses in our library, but even more than that, we break our full-length courses into like refresher modules. So you're not always looking at having to do, a full hour or 2-hour course. If there's specific sections you're looking to address, you can assign kind of a subsect of a course, and so a driver's only doing a 15 or kind of 20-minute refresher, but all those are available. Every course we have in our system is available on the subscription plan.
Okay, and a follow-up question from that, can I create and administer training programs with different courses specific to individual drivers?
Yes. So we have the system itself is very flexible. You have the ability to create programs. So you can say you want to do an orientation program. You can put select courses into that orientation program. If for you have drivers that do have to deal with the winter, you can put courses around defensive driving and winter driving so that they'll have that available to them. Again, because it's customizable, if you want to put courses for a driver's personal health, you can put personal security. I think we have a food kind of eating right course, or we also have the mental health course, so you can create groups of courses for your drivers. It's nothing set in stone. You're able to customize the offering for your individual drivers.
All right, that's great to know. We'll take one more question. Let's see. Does the training course require dedicated tablets or laptops, or can my drivers take courses from any device or their personal mobile phone?
Yeah. So we do make our courses very accessible. If you have access to an Android device, so you can download our application from the Google Store. If you have an iPhone, we're available in the Apple Store. If we also partner with various ELD providers, so if you're on Zonar, Isaac, we've partnered with Motive, Natrodyne, and sorry, just off the top of my head. So there's different areas, different tablet or ELD providers who you're able to take our courses right there in the cab as well. So yeah, we make it very accessible.
All right, well, thank you so much again, Salati, for your time today and for the very insightful presentation. We'll conclude today's vendor spotlight webinar featuring Carrier's Edge. Please visit the Protective Insurance Marketplace to look at the Carrier's Edge driver training solution and other solutions that can solve your safety and risk management needs. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today for another vendor spotlight webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Tom.